The European Union says it has not yet entered into contact with that HTS group that's in control in Damascus. The EU has said they want to see the territorial integrity of Syria as it moves out of decades of autocrat rule. To get the latest on the view from Brussels, we can cross now live to our correspondent there, Dave Keating. Dave, what are we hearing as to how the EU might work with the new groups or people in power in Syria?
Well, there's very much a wait-and-see approach here. Leaders and officials are basically limiting themselves to welcoming the fall of the Assad regime, but not going so far as to welcome the new government just yet. I think given that HTS, the lead rebel group that toppled the government, is still designated as a terrorist organization by the United States and the United Kingdom, nobody wants to get too far ahead of themselves in congratulating them or the new government, which could then come back to haunt them later if things go badly. That being said, as we hear in the package that just played, the rebel group is making all the right noises to reassure Western governments. They're saying they're going to respect minority rights, that they're giving this amnesty to the soldiers that served in the Assad regime, and really saying that there isn't going to be continued civil war, that this is going to be an orderly transition. So the EU is waiting. Nobody is yet making outreach because, of course, the situation is very unclear. But of course, that everyone can see these scenes of jubilation happening there, and that's the main thing that EU leaders are focused on right now, is recognizing that sense of relief and the sense of optimism without going so far as to endorse any particular government or any particular path forward. Because, of course, on the other hand, they also don't want to be seen to be meddling in Syria's internal affairs.
Scenes of jubilation, as you say there, Dave, but there's also a lot of concern still in Syria. It remains really quite a volatile situation, and yet we're seeing some Syrians already trying to return to their home after almost a decade of being forced to flee their homeland. And we're also seeing a number of European countries decide to suspend asylum requests for Syrian refugees.
Yeah, we've really seen a cascade of countries announcing this over the past 24 hours. France, Belgium, Germany, Austria, the United Kingdom, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. And it shows just how eager those countries were to take this step. I mean, interestingly, even before the fall of Assad, we had some countries preparing to start sending Syrian refugees back to Syria, saying it was stable under the Assad regime. So now you have governments saying that for the exact opposite reason, because the Assad regime fell. Now Austria has gone even further here. Most countries have just suspended the asylum applications, they suspended processing them. Austria is saying that it's actually going to start deporting the Syrian refugees that are there in Austria because they say Syria is now safe. Now, NGOs and refugee rights groups are saying that is absolutely not the case, that the situation is very, very unstable still, and that Syria cannot at this moment be deemed to be a safe country. They're also pointing out that there are obligations timing-wise for processing these asylum requests, 6 months in most cases, and the time that it will take to assess whether Syria is safe or not will almost certainly exceed 6 months. So rights groups are not happy about these decisions by national governments, but of course we know that with the rise of the far right across Europe and immigration becoming a very salient issue, particularly in Germany, where there are 1 million Syrian refugees, and Germany is having an election coming up in February, this has turned into probably a very political issue, and governments are eager to take any step, pull any lever they can to stem migration, and particularly asylum claims, which are unpopular with the public.
Okay, Dave Keating in Brussels for now. Thanks very much indeed.